when Leonard talked about or suggested that we do hips, I got to start thinking about it. And we have a thing called a torso that starts down here at your sacrum and comes up to about here. This whole piece of our body is called the sacrum. And we have arms that are attached to our sacrum and our shoulders. And the shoulders are connected, that gives us the ability to move our shoulders because we have three bones. We have the collarbone, which is called clavicle. We have the humerus, which is the arm bone, and we have the shoulder blade back here, the scapula, and all those three bones are connected to each other, and then it gives us the ability to move these appendages around, called our arms. We can move them in all kinds of different directions, and for the last couple of weeks, we talked about the different ranges of motion that the arms can go in. Well, we have something similar down here at the bottom. It's called our legs. And our legs are attached to this whole pelvic region, and we call this their hips. And the difference, though, is whereas here we have three bones that are connected together, here we don't. We have the biggest bone of our body, called the femur, which is this big thigh bone right here. And the thigh bone connects into this whole pelvic region, which is solid, whereas up here, we got a lot of looseness. Down here, it's pretty solid. So we have this thing called the femur. I'll come a little closer. The femur, and it fits into a socket like this. This is called the acetabulum, right in here. And this femur moves around in all kinds of different directions. Unfortunately, and this is how the leg moves. But unfortunately, most of our life, of everyday life, I don't care if you're just a little kid or you're an older person, most of our movements with the hips are in the direction of flexion. If you'll remember flexion from the shoulders, flexion is going forward like this. This is flexion. Anyhow, so most of our life we're flexing this. So when we're walking, for example, we're bringing our foot forward, that's flexion. When we sit down, we're flexion. This is flexion. So notice right in here, it's flexion. So then we stand up, and we don't stand up where we're pushing our bodies like this. We stand up in a sort of neutral position, or even slightly bent forward without even realizing it. So we're keeping this in flexion. So we start losing the ability to have our hips move in a lot of other directions, and even the flexion muscles start getting weaker. So think about it for yourself. When you were a little kid, or 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, when you walked, you probably took strides that were pretty nice and long strides, and you easily walk back and forth like this. As we get older, our strides get shorter. Now, it's not like one day you're walking with these big, old steps, and the next day you're walking like this. But watch how older people walk. Older people often will walk with very small steps. What's that all about? Well, part of it has to do with arthritis, and part of it has to do with the flexion the flexibility we have in our ankles. But also a lot of it has to do with the fact that our hip flexors have gotten weak. So we're walking like this, barely moving. Now, when we climb stairs, we have to use a railing or something to lift up our feet, So think about it for yourself. Everything you're doing, almost everything you're doing, is flexion. In yesterday's boxing class that Vanna led, I don't know if Vanna's on this or not, but Vanna had you moving in all different directions. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to have your hips move in directions that they're capable of moving without only doing flexion. So you're going to start to wake up your hips. So unless you're in a martial arts class or in a dance class or some sort of a sport, chances are almost everything you're doing is flexion, flexion, flexion. So we're going to do all kinds of other things. That's the end of my talk. Now we're going to get actually into the exercises themselves. Start just by loosening up your shoulders a little bit. I'm going to turn this up this bit. So the first few exercises will be strictly for your shoulders, and then we'll go into hips and shoulders. So we've done this before. Put your fingers on your shoulders like this. Bring your elbows together so they touch if they can. This is called epaulet circles. And then bring your elbows up as high as they can go and make them sweep around. And when they sweep around, feel your shoulder blades pinching together in the back. Come back in the front and do it again. And again and again and again. As many times or with whatever speed seems to be best for you. Listen to your shoulders. Notice if you're cutting corners. When you're coming forward, can you bring your elbows together, but you'd rather not? Bring them together. Make the circles as big as you possibly can. Squeeze them. And now go in the other direction. When you're coming forward, are your elbows touching? Maybe yes, maybe no. Start to do this. This is circumduction. This is a movement, and relax. This is a movement. This circumduction is one of the movements that our hips can't do. We can't make our legs go around and go these kind of circles. Let's go ahead and grab your strap or your bathrobe tie. Bring it behind your back. Palms face up. Thumbs are together. Relax your shoulders down. Push your hands down. And then from here, with your thumbs touching each other, pull the strap apart or giving it some tension. And then lift your hands away from your buttocks. Now lift them a little higher. Wiggle your shoulders around. Lift them a little higher. Keep lifting them without distorting your body. Lift, lift, lift. Your thumbs are touching. High, high, high. And at some point, you'll get about as high as you're going to be able to go with your thumbs still touching. At that point, separate your thumbs just a little bit, maybe half an inch. And notice now, your arms can go up a little bit higher. Keep your elbows as straight as you can. And then when you've gotten to that point, when you can't go any further, let your hands, thumbs separate even a little bit more. Wiggle your shoulders around and a little bit higher and a little bit higher until you just know you can't go any higher. Your thumbs are not touching each other. You've gone as high as you can. You're standing with as good a posture as you possibly can. And now let's hold this for 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Now you can do that with a strap, or you can do it without a strap. I like it with a strap because it gives you something to grab onto, but you can do it without a strap. Your thumbs start together, you bring them up like so, and then you start raising them, and you separate your thumbs will automatically separate, and you get to a point where you just can't hold it any higher, and then stop right there and do the same thing that we just did. You can do this numerous times throughout the day, just like we've had other things that we did last week that you can do, whether you're standing or sitting, it doesn't matter. Let's just swing your arms in a very simple way. Just letting your arms go forward and back. So what are we doing here? We're doing flexion, extension, flexion, extension, flexion, extension. We're going to be copying this when we're hips. So think about this, flexion, extension. Notice that your arms can come back. They really can. Back. Back and forward, just breathing, nice and easy. Simple flexion, extension, flexion, extension. And then from here, allow your arms to alternate in circumduction. So it's going to be flexion, extension, flexion, extension, and then up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over. Nice. Move. Get those arms going. You can stand in one spot, you can move around a little bit like I am, doesn't matter. But what we're doing right now is we're waking up your shoulders. Now let them go forward, circumduction forward, as if you're swimming. Notice if there's a difference from one side of your body to the other. When your arm is going forward, does an elbow bend? How close to your face can you keep your arms? And release. Grab hold of your weights or your soup cans, either way. Hold them down in front of you. Palms face each other. This is called scaption, and it's abduction of your arms. But I don't want your arms going straight to the side like this. I want them to come slightly in front of you like this. And when you raise your arms up, you're going to raise them to at least as high as your head. So it's going to look like this. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Let's go ahead and do this. Inhale, exhale. 3, 4. With control. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. That's enough. Now, on your own, you probably have noticed, well, maybe one arm isn't as strong as the other. Maybe you're finding yourself flopping your arms around or making them go too fast. If you want to be control, if this is really easy with you with a 1 or 2 pound weight, stay with your 1 or 2 pound weight. Don't go to a heavier weight, but maybe instead of 12 repetitions, 1 set, maybe you'll do 2 sets, maybe you'll do 3 sets, maybe you'll do 15 reps instead of 10 or 12. Listen to your body, but this is a wonderful one to start working on the rotator cuff muscles, not the big deltoids. Take your weights, soup cans or dumbbells. You can either, now this is, you can do 1 of 2 different ways. You can use 1 weight, you can hold them both in the same hand. You have 2 weights, or you can do it as a both arms swinging or 1 arm swinging. It doesn't matter. But here's what we're going to be doing. We're not just swinging the weights up to here to about your chest height. That would be great for shoulders. Good. But now what I want you to do is as you're coming forward, feel as if there's a wall in front of you and you want to push your body into that wall. So it's going to look like this. I'm going to do it with one hand at a time or 2, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to start here, come up, and forward a little wider, down, up, 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 up. I'm pushing. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, push it. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's enough. Now, if you wanted to bring it up a little bit higher, you could, but the focus of this one was to get a little bit of back extension. Now, a back extension doesn't have to be like this with using weights. If you want to, for example, I recommend that if you're sitting down at your computer or sitting down anywhere for maybe a half an hour or so, every half an hour or so, I would recommend it to get up. You don't have to grab your soup cans or your or your dumbbells. But what would it be if you just came over to a wall? And please do that now. And bring your hands to the wall, your forearms to the wall, like this. And you're standing up maybe about a foot or so away from the wall. And then let your hips sag into the wall until you really feel this beautiful stretch down your gluteals and your lower back. And come back. And again, push, push, push. 5, 6, 7, look up at the sky. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Nice little. When you get out of your car, if you've been sitting in a car for a long period of time, do that same kind of stretching. So what we're trying to do now is we're going to do the opposite of flexion. Remember, flexion is forward, extension is back. You want to have you want to be able to flex or extend. Okay, we're going to do some. We're now going to start working more on our hips. We were working on hips. We're now going to work a little bit more on our hips. So we're going to hold, push your trunks away. And I'm going to use a chair, folding chair, or anything that you can if you need to hold on to something with one hand. We'll start with going forward. I'll have it like this, and then we'll be going backwards at some point as well. What I want to do is, this is a forward lunge, but it's a little different than a forward lunge that maybe you've been doing before. A forward lunge is where you want to have your body from your head down to your tailbone, straight up and down. So you're not leaning forward like this in flexion, you're trying to stay upright. So take a big step, let's say with your left foot. Notice when you did that, did your body start to tilt forward? If it did, come up as upright as you can. Have your feet be at least hip distance apart so their feet are facing nice and forward. And then from here, bend your back knee and bend your front knee so you're coming straight down and not leaning forward. Come down as far as you can. Back up. Step back. Other foot. Step forward. Brace yourself. Get yourself in a nice position. Both feet are facing straight forward. Come on down as far as you can. Now, I've got a problem with my big toe on my back foot on my left foot. That's bone against bone, so I can't bend that back toes very much. Make sure this front knee is not going way forward. Make sure your body isn't going forward like this, and then step back. Again with the other foot. Step forward, nice big long stride, down. Down as far as you can. Hold it for a second or two or three. Come back up. Other side. Step. Down. And do it at whatever pace feels right for you. If I'm doing it at a pretty slow pace, you're certainly welcome to speed it up if you want. Step. Down. Up. Step. Down. Up. Couple more. Step. Down. Up. Step. Down. When you're doing it with this upright way that you can keep on doing it while I'm talking, that you're feeling something here. This is your hip flexors, but they're starting to stretch. They're starting to wake up. They're starting to go into extension as well, which is so critical. Once you're bent over, it doesn't happen that way. So this is what you want to be doing. Now, let's do exactly the same thing going backwards. So you're going to step back and down. Step back and down. Do it on your own now. Maybe 3 or 4 or 5 times. Stepping back and down. Stepping back and down. Notice if your body wants to lean forward. If it wants to lean forward, don't take such a big step back. Take a little bit shorter step back. You want to keep this uprightness because you want to start working these muscles right in here to get them back into a flexible way, that they're more elastic. Finish that up and grab your block or a book or a few books, or maybe you won't need them at all. Stand on your mat with a nice wide stance like I've got right here. I'm going to tilt this down a little bit so you can see. Wide stance like this. If your hands can touch the floor with a flat back, great. But if your back is rounding, come up onto a block. This is called prasarita lunges. So I'm going to use a block to start with. My back is pretty straight. And then from here, I'm holding on to this, my block. I'm going to bend my right leg. Now, if your feet, you want to make sure your feet are parallel to each other, that they're not out like this, but they're parallel to each other. Really, you might push your heels even a little bit further away from each other. And from here, bend your right leg, bend your right knee. Push into that right leg as far as you can go. And then, using the strength of this right leg, push yourself over to the other side. And now push yourself back and forward. Back, one side, other side. One side, other side. Look what you're doing for your hips right now. Oh, you're doing internal, external rotation. Beautiful. Go as fast as you can, whatever feels right for you. And maybe as your hips start opening up right now, you find out that, oh, I've got a little bit more freedom in my arms. Maybe I don't have to use the block like this. Maybe I can use the block a little bit lower. Or maybe I don't have to use the block at all. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Now speed it up to whatever speed you can, as fast as you can. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Maybe your hips are going a little bit lower. 2, 1, and stop. Put your hands on your hips. Flatten your back. Slowly, with a flat back, come all the way up to standing. Bring your feet back together again. Stand in Tadasana. Get your feet together or slightly apart. And catch your breath. Take your block or your books or whatever you're standing on and put them alongside a wall, maybe about a foot or so away from the wall. Step up onto the block with the foot that's closest to the wall. Use the wall for balance. This is called hip hikers. So step up on your block. Right, so the foot does not bend. It stays as stiff as if it's a piece of steel. The outside leg will go, you want to dorsiflex your foot so your toes are pointing up to the sky. Your heel is going down towards the mat. And then drop your heel down. And notice that you did that. Your hip went into the close to the wall. Now bring it back up and down and up down, and up. If you need to adjust how far away from the wall it works for you, that's fine. But your left, the foot that's on the block, in this case, my left foot, is doing all the work. This hip is doing a lot of work as you're going up and down and up and down. Come up as high as you can, as low as you can, as high as you can, as low as you can. Don't bend that knee. Don't bend the knee. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, make this outside leg ride a gigantic bicycle. Notice now, what am I doing here? My left leg is straight. I'm doing flexion and a little bit of extension. Flexion and extension. I'm riding this giant bicycle. Now ride this giant bicycle backwards. And now, from here, I want you to ride this bicycle with this outside leg in all kinds of ways. Be as dramatic as you can. Circles, let your spine, feel your spine undulating even. Everything is wiggling around, you're moving. And now, straight up and straight down. 10, 9, 8, 7, let the hips sag into the wall. Not 8, 9, and 10, and step off the block and walk around a little bit. Notice how imbalanced you feel. Like, oh, one side is working, one side is not. You might feel a little bit odd right here. Let's go ahead and do exactly the same thing on the other side. I'm going to move my block over to the other wall so I can still be facing the camera. Step up onto the block with your, in this case, it's going to be my right foot. And then up and down, up, down, up, and down. Dorsiflex step. The toe, the ankle, and your left foot. Make sure your right knee doesn't bend. Up and down. You feel your hip as you're going down. You feel your hip going towards the wall. Up and down, up and down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make those nice big circles with your legs, riding this gigantic bicycle. Big circles. Making those hips do some work that they haven't done in a long time. Make the bicycle go backwards. Now make these strange circles. I say strange, but really just dramatic circles. Whatever feels right for you. Let everything kind of move around. Feel your spine going in different directions. And now we'll go straight up and down again, just like we did before. Down and up, down and up. Feel your hip going towards the wall for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As high as you can. Lower the foot down as far down as you can. Step off the block and walk around. I don't know about you. This gave my hips a lot of work right here. Whew. Let's go into some leg swings. I'm going to use my folding chair. And all I want to do now is I want to start moving my leg in some different directions. Remember, we have the ability to move our hips in all these different directions. So we've been doing a lot now, and we're going to continue to do. So I'm going to start with my left leg. I'm just going to do flexion and extension. Now, be careful when you're doing the extension that you're not just leaning forward like this, because that's not really extension. Extension is when from here up, you're not moving at all. So that all the action is in your hip. So just swing your leg back and forth. If you need to bend your knee a little bit on the swinging leg so you don't stub your toe, that's just fine. And now let's switch to the other side, other leg. Just swing it back and forth. Notice when you're bringing your foot back into extension, are you feeling a little bit of stuff back here? You feel your gluteals working a bit. Remember, your gluteals are your biggest muscle of your whole body. Just swing nice and easy. Now I'm going to step behind my chair because I'm going to do abduction and adduction. Remember, adduction, abduction, ABD, is away from the midline of your body. Adduction is towards the midline of your body and even across. I'm going to start with my left foot, and I'm just going to kick out and across, back and forth, high as you can in one direction, as far across as you can in the other direction. Now we'll switch legs, cross over, up, cross over, up. Normally, in a regular day's time, you probably will never do something like this. But can you see how this is waking up the ability of your hips to move in all these different directions? Now let's do extension. Extension, remember, is going backwards. So I'll turn this way. So I'm not leaning forward, I'm standing upright, and I'm going to bring this my left leg back. Back, 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 back. Stand as upright as you can as you're letting that leg go back. There's also a muscle in this back area called the quadratus lumborum, the QL. You're now starting to wake that muscle up as well. Back. And of course, you're waking up your gluteals. Bend your knee as you're bringing it back, back, back. Notice it's a little different. Turn your knee in, back, back, back. Experiment with different leg positions. Maybe a straight leg, maybe a foot turned out to the side. Let's go ahead and do extension with the right leg. Back, back. Notice there's a difference between your right leg and your left leg. Bend your knee. Turn it in. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go back. We're going to do some kicking now, just a little bit side to the kick, side kicks. So I'm going to start with the left leg. And all I'm going to do is, wherever you want to have this hand is just fine. Kick high, as high as you can. Now this time I am leaning into the chair for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it out there. Lift it up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower it down. Other side. Kick, 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 kick. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it out, lift it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come to standing. Move the chair over to the other side. We're going to go back over to the left leg now. I want you to make figure 8s with your hip. So bend your knee, and you're drawing this big figure. Picture in your mind what it is to make this big figure eight. So you're doing internal, external rotation of your hips. Nice. And switch to the other side. Figure eights again. Try to have your hip do most of the work rather than having your body do work for you. Can you make your hip go in these different circles? External, internal, and release. Take your block again. This time you're probably, for most of you, you're going to have the highest point as you possibly can. If you don't need to be this high, you can have it at a lower point, anywhere like this, wherever it can be, and bring your feet together so they touch. As flat back as you can. And now imagine that there's a wall behind you and that your heels can't go back even a fraction of an inch because there's a wall blocking and holding your feet back there. That your feet can't go back even a fraction of an inch. Stand like this, feet together. Take a nice deep breath in, straighten your legs as much as you can, and then slowly take your right foot and bring it straight out to the side, and then bring it down. Left foot out to the side, and bring it down. Back and forth, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. Now, what you'll probably notice as you're doing this is that your heel will want to go backwards. Do everything you can to tell yourself, my heel can't go back because there's no room for it to be going back. Straight out to the side as high as you can, and then bring your feet back together. As high as you can, together. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, high as you can, 3, 2, 1, and stand up. We're working the muscles on the inside of our legs and on the outside of our legs. Keep in mind that we have these upper legs, and think of them as pillars. And just imagine a building like an ancient Roman temple or something that had these gigantic pillars. Well, think of your legs as these pillars. We have the front part, the quadriceps, that's 4 muscles that start at the groin and go down to your knee. That's the front part. The back part of your starts roughly from your leg, of the column. It starts right here at your buttocks, right over here. And it's 3 muscles called hamstrings that go down to the back of your knee and even extend a little bit past. And then you have the muscles on the outside of your leg, and you have the muscles on the inside of your leg. And what you're attempting to do is you're attempting to have all these muscles in balance with each other. But what happens is, as life goes on, or as things go on, we put more emphasis on our front, the quads, and a little bit of emphasis on the hamstrings. Our hamstrings get tight, they get weak, and everything starts to collapse. We're going to do a squat right now, a simple squat. And I want to emphasize the importance of squatting. If you go to a gym, or if you only have time for one exercise in an entire day, I'm in a rush because I'm doing whatever I'm doing. Quarantine is now over, but I can still exercise a little bit. I want to exercise. I want to get the most value from one exercise. Because I only have 5 minutes to do a squat. Now, squatting isn't just sitting down like this. I want to really have you take a look at all the different elements of squatting. So in this case, I want you to have either your weight or a block in front of you for a little bit of a counterbalance. So I want you to start with your feet a little bit wider than your hips, just a little bit, not much. You're not out like so and not in like this. We're going to start with about hip distance, a little bit wider. Look down at your feet. Turn so that your heels are slightly going out, slightly. Put all the weight in your heels now. Bring your weight out or your block or something out in front of you. And as I want to pretend that there's a seat back here. So as I'm going in, notice that from my knee to my ankle is straight up and down. I don't want my knees going here. I'm going down and I'm reaching forward. And I'm also taking my knees, my feet are parallel to each other, or if necessary, if you have to, you can turn your feet out a little bit. That works. But here's what's going to happen. At some point, when you want to stand up, for a split second, your knees are going to want to come together, just slightly to help you back up. I want you to think about, can my knees stay apart the entire time? It's just something is being pulling on my knees. So down, up, down, up, down. Sit back, put your weight in your heels, like you're going to fall over backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and up. So if you have any questions about squatting, we'll wait to the end of the workshop and we can talk about that. Okay, well now we're going to go onto the floor. So doing that, I want you to go down to the floor, lay your back with your feet against the wall, and have your strap and your block handy. That's the only things that you're using now. All right, lay down on the floor. Put your left foot against the baseboard or against the wall. Now, look at your left foot. There's a good chance, there's a tendency where the left might want to turn out, like point 11 o'clock. You want to point your toes straight to the sky. And you want to have that left leg straight, so your whole foot is braced against the wall, and you're pressing against the wall. It's not just there, it's not just hanging out, it's pressing as if you're trying to push the wall down. And then from here, grab your strap or your bathrobe tie, bend your right knee, put the strap around the instep of your right foot, not the ball of your foot, the instep. Because what we're working on now is we want to work on your hands. If we had it around the ball of your foot, it would be working on your calf. Hold it up in a comfortable way. You can hold it with one hand, or you can hold it with both hands. Relax, head back to the mat. Straighten your leg as best as you can. This is about the best as I can be. And you're pressing into the wall with your left foot, and you're pulling that leg towards you as much as you can. And you're breathing. Your shoulders are relaxed. Grip your strap or your tie, whatever works for you. If it's helpful, if it is, take your left hand on your right knee and straighten your leg a little bit more, if that works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And keep pulling on that right leg. Every time you exhale, maybe your foot comes a little closer to your face. It doesn't. To the point where, okay, can't go further, soften breathing, relax your breathing. We're going to hold this for a little bit. At home, if you're doing this, after the workshop is over,
You could hold this, oh gosh, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. Right now, we're not going to do it that long. We're not going to hold it that long, but you really want to feel what's happening to my hamstrings right now. What's happening to the whole back of my leg? Is it starting to wake up? And now, let that right foot come way out to the side, which is abduction, coming way out to the side to the point where it touches the floor. Now, some of you will have the foot at a 90-degree angle to your body. Some will have it way up high toward your shoulders. Either way, it's just fine. But we want to have your foot, and then from here, as you exhale, see if you can slide that foot a little bit close, a little bit wider. Make it dance a little bit wider. Inhaling and exhaling, pushing into the wall with your left foot. Take a couple of breaths, holding onto the strap with my right hand. Your left arm can be out to the side, stretched out to the side, whichever comfortable for you. Now exhale, maybe it slides a little bit further. Relax. Breathe. Make sure your left hip hasn't got it rolled over. But if you need to, put your left hand on your left hip, hold your left hip down as you're taking this right foot and stretching it out to the side. And hold for 10, 9, 8, push into the wall with that left foot, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Can you push with your right heel? Can you push your right heel away from your body? 2, 1, bring it up to the top. Take your foot away from the wall, bend your knee. Put the strap in your left hand. Lift your hips up. And now and shift them to the right. So I'm now laying more on my left hip. Put your left foot back to the wall, but this time, instead of having your toes of your left foot to the sky, have the whole sole of your foot horizontal. My little toe of my left foot is flat to the floor. Hold the strap of my left hand. Now I'm adducting. I'm crossing my leg across my body, pushing into the wall with my left foot. Let your right foot hover in midair. Push hard. If you can, only if you can, take the toes of your right foot, the one that's hovering in midair, and turn your toes towards the floor and your heel towards the ceiling. Maybe you'll only go a fraction of an inch, but you'll probably feel all kinds of stretching in that right leg. Have right arm be wherever it feels right. Maybe your palm faces up. Maybe be the snow angels while you're waiting here. Notice that as you press into the wall with your left foot, that maybe your right foot goes a little bit higher, a little bit closer to your left shoulder. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Bring it back to the center. Take the strap off. Bend these. Put the soles of your feet together and let your knees just flop apart gently. A few nice long breaths. Now we're going to repeat that same sequence on the other side. So take your right foot, bring it against the wall, look down at your toes. Are they pointing to the sky? Grab a hold of your strap, put it around instep of your left foot. Bring your foot up, holding the strap either in both hands or just your left hand. Straighten your left leg as much as you can. And every time you exhale, maybe your toes come a little closer to your face. Press to the wall with your right foot. If you find your neck being uncomfortable, lift your head up and then put your head back down so your chin is ever so slightly up. We're going to hold. Once again, we're not going to hold that long in this exercise portion of the workshop, but at home, you're welcome to hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. That's just fine. Breathe. Sometimes we find in exercise or in yoga that you'll get to a point where, oh, I just can't do this anymore. I'm draining. I'm holding, everything is tight. And you start to learn how to relax and breathe. And all of a sudden, you thought that you can't any further, and ease comes along, like, oh, everything is softened now. Straighten your left leg as much as you can. Your arm is doing whatever it wants to do. I'm doing a little bit of a angel, snow angel right here. You might find a little bit impatient. Good. What can you do to corral your impatience? Maybe, oh, I'm holding some tension that I don't have to. What can I relax in my body right now? Oh, maybe I can relax my left arm. Maybe I'm holding that too tense. And now from here, we're going to do the abduction, abduction out to the left side. Bring your foot down so it touches the floor. Doesn't matter what angle it is, doesn't matter how far away it is from your left shoulder. It has to touch the floor though. Maybe even here. What would it be if while it's touching the floor and you're pressing into the wall with your right foot, if you lifted your heel of the left foot off the floor just slightly? Breathe. Can you slide that left foot up a little bit closer to your left shoulder? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Widening the space between your left foot and your right foot. Opening up, maybe a little bit more, maybe not. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it up to the top. Bend your right foot away from the wall. Shift your hips to the left. Put the strap in your right hand. Put your right foot back to the wall where it's now horizontal. You're laying on your right hip now. Take your left foot and bring it all the way across as far as it can go. Let it hover. Notice when you did that, by any chance, did your right heel jump off the wall? If it did, you might have to just reposition your body, because you really want to have that right foot pressing strongly into the wall, not just your toes and the balls of your feet or your foot, but the whole foot. And just like before, you get to a certain point like, oh, I can't go any further. Relax, breathe. Maybe you can squeeze out another ½ inch. Maybe. Hold, relax, breathe. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Take the strap off. Bend both knees. Have your feet flat on the mat. Bring the soles of your feet together and gently let your knees flop out to the side. Nice work. This next exercise that we're going to do is going to be for flexion and extension. So you're going to need your block, and you probably have to reposition how far away from the wall that you are. You want to have your block or your books or whatever you're using underneath your sacrum with your left foot directly against the wall. Straight. Bring your right knee into your chest. Clasp your hands around your knee or your shin. Notice how your left hip now is in a beautiful extension. How it's really stretching the front part of your hip out beautifully. And your right knee, the one that's bent right here, has a nice deep flexion right in here. Clasp your hands around your right knee. Squeeze that right knee into your chest as much as you possibly can. I'm going to do a type of breathing, yoga breathing called Kalabati, which is you're going to exhale forcefully and inhale passively at whatever speed works for you. So it's going to be something like this. I'm going to inhale, and then I'm going to force my exhale out. Inhale. Do it whatever speed works for you. Some people like that. Some people are very slow. It doesn't matter. Whichever is right for you. But squeeze. Keep pressing into the wall with your left foot. Feel this beautiful extension of your left hip. And switch. Right foot to the wall. Press it in firmly. Squeeze your left knee into your chest. Press firmly into the wall with your right foot. If you need to adjust how far away from the wall you are, by all means do. And go back to that Kalabati breathing. And release. Take the block out. Some of you might need a strap for this next one. Maybe you won't. This will be completely up to you. Put your left foot against the wall. Straighten your body back out. Bring your right knee into your chest, and with your right hand or a strap around your foot, reach up and grab the big toe side of your right foot. This is half happy baby. And then bring your foot up and out to the side. If you need to use a strap, that's perfectly okay. And then strap or hand, I want you to have your foot from your heel to your knee as vertical as you can make it. And then push your right knee down towards the outside of your body, towards the mat. Hold, pulling hard, half happy baby. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Put your right foot against the wall. We go straight into half happy baby on the other side. Strap or not. Take your hold onto the, using your hand on the big toe side of your foot. Bring it up as far as you can, out to the side as much as you can, and then bring your from your ankle to your knee as vertical as you can, and then pull that knee down towards the floor. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Let your legs get nice and long on the mat or on the floor. Let your feet flop out to the side. That movement we could do again, but we're not. And if we were doing it again to make it to the next level, if that was really, really easy for you, what you would be doing is you'd be taking your block and you'd be putting the block under your sacrum, and you'd be doing the same half happy baby using a block. But we're not today. At home, if you want to, by all means, do. Roll over onto your bellies. Have your hands be parallel to each other. Elbows right underneath your shoulders. We're going to do some internal, external rotation of your hips. So needed. Bend your knees. Now notice when you bend your knees, did your butt stick up in the air? Is there now a space under here? Press your pelvis down. Only bend your knees to the point where you don't get any kind of lifting up, no air at all. And now cross one leg in front of the other, and then open it up and cross the other way. I'll turn so you can sort of see me from the back. Cross, 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 cross. So first your left foot goes in front, and your right. Left, right. Feel, keep your feet flexed, dorsiflexed. Back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth. Some of you might even feel the femur, the thigh bone, rotating inside the acetabulum, inside that hip socket as you're doing this. I know for me, I can actually hear a little knocking noise in my left hip. And now bring your knees towards each other, about hip distance apart. Cross your forearms. Your forearms are now under you. I'm resting on my forearms. Bend your knees to about 90 degrees if you can. Once again, if you're lifting up in any kind of airspace, drop them down. And from here, lift one foot as if you're trying to stand on the ceiling. Lift one foot up, just lifting the thigh up and down. And then the thigh up and down, going back and forth, left foot, right foot, up and down. Now notice when you lift the foot up, there's a tendency to want to have the hips raised as well. You want to, and you don't want to have that airspace. So press your hips down, lift the thigh. It might only come up a half an inch. That's just fine. But don't make it come up further by lifting your body up. Concentrate. You're really doing some low back work, hip extension, and gluteals right here. 10, 9, 8. Be very deliberate with this one. 7, 6. Press those hips down. Press them down. Press your pelvis into the mat. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to the first position where your hands are parallel to each other, elbows are right underneath your shoulders, and do that same crossing of your legs. Separate the knees a little bit more and cross and cross and cross and cross. Maybe you have a little bit more freedom now in your hips. Maybe. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Roll over onto your backs. There's a couple more things we're going to do for our hips, and then we'll call it a day. So roll over onto your backs. We're going to do bridge, which is a pretty standard yoga pose, but I want you to do it in a way that maybe you haven't done it before. So first you want to start with your feet hip distance apart. If you can, reach with your fingers. Can you touch the backs of your heels? If that's really easy to touch the backs of your heels, you can even reach around and grab your ankles. But what you want to do is you want to make sure you have that your heels are as close to your buttocks as feels comfortable. Your feet are parallel to each other. You're not out to the side. Your feet are not out to the side, so your feet are parallel to each other. And think of your hips as being something that can rotate like a wheel. So you want to tuck your tailbone under as you raise up. Come up as high as you can. Push those hips as high as you can. And then tuck your tailbone under again and slowly roll down one vertebra at a time. We're doing a little bit different this time. So lift your toes. So all the weight is from the balls of your feet down to your heels. Tuck your tailbone under, roll up as if you're trying to roll up a carpet. One vertebra at a time. Feel your back, the whole spine going up, 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 up. Tuck your chin if your nose is pointing to the back wall. And then slowly tuck your tailbone under and roll down one vertebra at a time. Readjust your feet, readjust your hands, whatever feels right for you. We're going to do a couple more just like this, and then we're going to change. Tuck your tailbone under, scoop your tailbone off the mat. Up, 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 up. Tuck your chin a little bit. Up, 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 up. If your knees are separating out, see if you can have your knees still be parallel to each other. And then slowly roll down. Not coming down like a stiff piece of wood, but come down one vertebra at a time. Last time, inhale, up, 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 curl up. Feel those vertebrae from your lowest vertebra all the way up to the thoracic spine. Up, 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 and then slowly roll down. Now there's going to be a change. We're going to include the diaphragm and breathing while we're doing this. So as you start coming up, come on up, take your hands and bring your hands up as well. Flexing your shoulders all the way to the floor behind you. Palms face the sky. Push your hips as high as they possibly can. Tuck your chin. Take a deep breath in. Hold your breath. Keep your hands glued where they are. Lower down, one vertebra at a time. Don't breathe, don't breathe, don't breathe, don't breathe, don't breathe. All the way down. And when you've come all the way down, then lower your hands down alongside your body and exhale. Again, inhale up. Inhale, 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 inhale. Backs of your hands to the floor. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Hold your breath. Push up a little higher. Keep your hands glued to the floor. Lower yourself down. Don't breathe. And then when your hips land, lower your hands. One last time. Inhale. Up. Inhale a little bit deeper. Hold your breath. Lower down slowly. And release, bring your arms down. Garudasana, which is the name of the pose, but we're going to do it supine. So take your take your left foot, cross it over your right knee, and if you can, bring that foot underneath your right ankle. If you couldn't do that by yourself, you can always use your hands to help you. So I'm twisting right now. I'm twisting my legs, and at the same time, I'm doing some work about twisting my hips as well. Squeeze your legs together. Push your heels away from each other. Clasp your hands behind your head. Inhale, and as you exhale, squeeze your nose towards your knees and your knees towards your nose, pushing your heels out away from each other. Breathe. Let your head rest back down to the floor. Keep your legs wrapped around each other just like they are, but push your feet away from you. They might not go very far. Push them away. When they've gone as far as they can, squeeze your thighs together even more. Push your heels away from each other even more. Push, 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 push. And release. Same thing on the other side. Right leg wraps around. If you can, bring it up underneath your left ankle. I have to reach and kind of help it with my hand, which tells me that there's a difference between one hip and the other. Clasp your hands behind your back. Again, exhale, bring your nose towards your knees. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Tight as you can make it. Squeeze. Push your heels away from each other. Notice what this is doing to your hips. Let your head rest back down. Stretch your legs away from you. Push them a little bit further if you can. Untangle your legs. Stretch your legs back out. Arms alongside of your body. Palms face up. Lift your head. And then put your head back down so your chin is ever so slightly tucked. Take a nice deep breath. You're laying in Shavasana right now, also called corpse pose. I know this was a long workout. It was a hard workout. I hope you learned something from this. Stay in Shavasana for as long as you want. While you're doing that, I'm going to get out of Shavasana and get a little closer to my laptop. And I'm certainly open at any point for any kind of questions that you have about hips. And I know that there are thousands and thousands of exercises that we could do for hips. Thousands, maybe I'm exaggerating, but certainly hundreds. So I'm going to continue next week with hips and lower back and hamstrings and our whole bottom half of our body. So I'm going to get out of Shavasana and kind of just come to a comfortable seat in front of the laptop. And whenever you're ready to do the same, you can roll over to one side or the other, take a couple of breaths, and then slowly come up to a comfortable seat, whatever works for you.